Good job. Well done. So, in order to find Croatia on a map, I mean, first, what's your name? Ethan. Like Ethan said, it's in Europe, and then in Europe you'll find Italy. That's a boot, right? And then across from the boot, there's Adriatic Sea. You'll find Croatia. It looks like a boomerang or a horseshoe, whatever you prefer. So yeah, so we come from Croatia. We actually come from. Oh, do I have to turn something on? Oh, right, there it is. So there's Italian boot, and then from Italy on the right there's Croatia. So we live in a town of Zadar, which is that black dot where you have a pointer pointing. So yeah, so my name is Miroslav. Ivana, this is Luka. We have two more sons. You'll hear a little bit about them later. So Ivana will now say something about Croatia.
Yeah. So Miroslav already shared. It's kind of close to Italy. That's our claim to fame, So just, remember where Italy is. We're just across the sea. We used to be under Italy for a while. But perhaps if you like soccer, you've heard of Croatia, I hope. We're second best in the world. And Croatia sometimes sounds like a new country, like we haven't heard of Croatia, what's that? It's because it was sort of born in the 1990s after what used to be called Yugoslavia fell apart. And but I'll show you later, it's an ancient kingdom of Croatia. They just got renewed in the 90s. So it's about 4 million people. So it's not a big country. Most of those live in the capital, in Zagreb, around 1 million people. And most of our country is Roman Catholic, something like 87% or something like that. And also, what's important to say is that Croatia historically, if you look at the map, was always kind of between east and west. So even in like Roman times, when the Romans ruled, we were under Rome, but still, that's where the Western Roman Empire was separated from the Eastern Roman Empire. So we were the border. So then when the Turks came, and you will probably study it at school, at some point the Turks were about to conquer all of Europe, they were actually stopped where Croatia is. So, and even to this day, you know of European Union. So European Union ends where Croatia is. So this is a borderland, and it always was. And so that kind of explains our people are border people. People who are tough, people who are, if they're Roman Catholic, they're more Roman Catholic than other Roman Catholics, because they're keeping the country safe, keeping Europe, keeping the Christendom safe in a sense. But there's only 0.5% evangelical Christians. So it's very hard to penetrate this Roman Catholicism because oftentimes Croatian people think if you're a Croat, you're a Roman Catholic. So when we say we're Croats, they say you're probably not because we are evangelical Christians. So we have to prove yeah, we are. So yeah. So another wonderful thing is that it's a country of stunning beauty, and you are all invited. Always. I'm a tour guide. I will take you around and give you a good tour of our history and also of our natural beauty.
So we don't like talking much about ourselves, but we would like to just tell you something about us, just so you would kind of have a feeling, what is it like? Who are these crazy people, evangelicals or Baptists, in Croatia? How do they come to faith? Because there's only 0.5% of all the evangelicals of Baptist church, maybe like we have in all of Croatia around 2,000 members. So I'm the guy on the left, if you didn't guess. There was when I was like, I think 4 or 5. So I was born basically in an unreligious family. My father was an officer in the Yugoslav army. and he was like a Roman Catholic, but didn't really believe anything. He was agnostic. My mother was Orthodox, but she was like New Age. Um, she was into everything, actually, believed in everything. So when I was 15, uh, until then, I didn't really believe in God much. Maybe I was thinking about him sometimes, but really, he wasn't on my mind. And I met these wonderful people from Germany who came to work with the Baptist church in Zadar. So they were sharing the gospel. And at first, I just came to the church because they were really nice people. They had a youth group, they were fun to be around. But then, after a couple of months of just kind of attending the youth meetings, they gave me the Bible, the New Testament. So I started reading about Jesus in the Gospel according to John. And the more I read of Jesus, the more dear to my heart he became, the more real. So I started praying in the evening. So he just entered my life. I don't really know exactly the date, but I just know that one day I realized I'm a Christian. I was swearing a lot before. I was doing things young people shouldn't do. And then God just changed my life. He brought me to the right path. And I knew that Jesus is my Lord and Savior and that all my sins are washed away. So I was in a Baptist church for a couple of years. And then when I was 19, I went to the army because we all had to go to the army. So I learned that when you're in America, when you go to the army, then after you finish, you're a veteran. So in a sense, I'm a veteran of Croatian army. Uh, so anyways, but sadly, when I was in the army, when I was away from other Christians, um, I started to move away from the Lord. And God used this powerfully, but for a couple of months, I didn't pray, I didn't read the Bible. Actually, my Bible was taken away from me by one of the officers. Um, and so I just kind of thought I wanted something more of life than what Jesus had to offer. I wanted the fun things again, the sinful things again. But the more I wanted those kind of things, the more depression came into my life and meaninglessness. I just started feeling this life is just meaningless, and I didn't want to really live for a life like that. But thank God, after a couple of months when I was really saw this meaninglessness of my life without God, I started turning to Him again. And I started to read the Bible again. I started to pray again. And slowly, but surely, God started to bring light into my life. And when I finished the army, after 10 months, I was kind of like, again, renewed. And I was thinking about what should I do in life. And all I wanted is really, I thought, I want to bring Word of God to people who do not know Him, or to Christians who maybe lack the security, who lack this knowledge that God loves them unconditionally, and that He does have a beautiful plan for our lives if we are willing to follow Him. So when I was 20, I went to college, and there I met this wonderful lady. Bible college, yes, I went to Bible college. There I met this wonderful lady who was a secretary in the college, and she will tell you the story.
My story.
Her story now, yeah.
So yeah, I'm the girl there. The doll. I'm in kindergarten there, and the doll had clothes that my grandma made. So it was my doll. I didn't give it to anyone else. Well, my story is, some of you know that Yugoslavia was a communist country. It belonged to what people call the Eastern Bloc. And my father was a member of the Communist Party. So and my mom was again a nominal Roman Catholic. So there are many Roman Catholics who are just nominally so. They're not people who go to church. But my family, I had a liberal upbringing, and I was, through a series of unfortunate events, I ended up at the university, but I dropped out of university, and I couldn't tell my parents. I just couldn't, so I lied to my parents. And because of this lie sort of swallowed up my life. I couldn't tell them, and I couldn't tell anyone, not even friends. So this was a horrible time. And I decided I was going to move to a foreign country and become a new person. I wanted to go to England and be an au pair, and I thought, I'm just going to forget about, the bad things I did. And what happened was, when I came to England, all my problems, like in the book Pilgrim's Progress, when he carries that burden on his back, like a rucksack, his sins, that's how I was carrying my problems with me. And now in a foreign country, and it was even worse. But then I met a lady, and the first thing she asked me was, have you heard of Jesus? And although I come from let's say, a Christian country, a Roman Catholic country, I've never heard the gospel. Gospel is not something that's told. It's either you go to church or you don't go to church. That's the question in Croatia. Like, do you believe in God or you don't believe in God? There's no gospel. And when she said, have you heard of Jesus? I said, who didn't? Like, what sort of a question is that? But after that, she said, he can help you. And I loved the song we sang. He can help you. I mean, it's not a very theological invitation. It's not a deep gospel presentation. But in that moment, that was exactly what I needed to hear, and I believed. I believed that he wanted to help me. And if he wanted to help me, he must be amazing, because I was such a horrible person. And with his help, I then wrote a letter to my parents. I told them everything, and I started telling the truth. This was my big change. I started telling the truth, even when it was inconvenient. Even, I just took on Jesus's view. Like, I'm just going to tell the truth no matter what happens. And things changed. I became a follower of Jesus, although in a family that still doesn't believe and they don't accept. They kind of think that it's my crutch in life. It's just something that helps me, but I pray for them. But God has given me my husband and 3 sons. And I came back from England, and I wanted to study the Bible, but I also needed to work. I didn't have money. So I took this job as a secretary at the Bible college, where I could take some courses and be the secretary. And then we met.
So kind of the story then goes after while we were in college, actually. So we got our first son, Yakov. He's 20 now. He's working, soon to become a student in a Bible college. And then we moved to Split, where we met these wonderful people, maybe a year after. And so for 5 years, we were just living in Split, helping in the local Baptist church, translating books. Ever since we were in college, actually, that was something that God has, not put on our heart necessarily then, but since then we like to bring theological and Christian literature to Croatian people by translation. And while we were in Split, so to kind of back out, like when I was in Bible college, I thought that there's 2 things you can do after Bible college. You can either become a pastor, or you can go to Africa to be a missionary, right? Because like every missionary goes to Africa. Where else? But while we were in Split, we met people, that were saying, well, no, actually in Croatia, that there's only 0.5% evangelicals, and only bigger cities have evangelical churches. So we were invited basically by a team to go to a part of Croatia that doesn't have an evangelical church and plant a Baptist church there. So after that, like for 11 years, we were in a place, Nova Gradiška. You probably never heard of it, because even some Croatians never heard of it. So we were trying to plant a Baptist church, and then after that, we were in Zagreb for 3 years, where we spent some time with Eric, and I actually learned a lot from Eric. And I heard that you met Kostya, maybe some of you. Yeah, so I was on the same team, really helping and learning from them. And then we were invited to go to Zadar, which is my hometown, so I get to be actually a missionary. after 20-something years of being elsewhere in my hometown. And so the Lord then gave us Josip. He's 19. He's also getting to a college this year. And then Luca, who's 14. And God really blessed us because, we're not the greatest parents. And we made a lot of mistakes that, Luca can tell you all about later. But God was gracious because, all three of our boys trust in the Lord and follow Him and want to serve Him. So that's not because of us. It's really, glory to Him. So now we are in Zadar, and Ivana will tell you something about Zadar.
Yeah, you'll forgive me about the history. It's because of this tourist guide job that I took, so I'm all into history. So this is, I told you, Croatia is an ancient kingdom. So the left picture, and maybe, like he said, Croatia looks like a boomerang or a horseshoe. So here it doesn't. So all of this was Croatia in 10th century. So in the 10th century, it was like this. But somehow we remembered. So 1,000 years later, we became the independent country, the Republic of Croatia, 1,000 years later. And I believe it's because we never lost our language, the language we spoke with. And it's just to show Zadar is, I can't show, it's too far, but Zadar was under many kingdoms. So it was under the Eastern Roman Empire, Western Roman Empire. It was under Italy. It was under Venice. For a while, Napoleon came. The French people came and conquered Zadar. Then Austria and the Habsburgs. And so Zadar survived all those centuries and still remains a Croatian town. The map on the right shows just when the Venetians ruled all over Dalmatia. So maybe the next one. Uh-huh. But today, Zadar is gorgeous. It's a really nice town. It takes you about an hour and a half or two to go through the real center. There's been a settlement for 3,000 years. So it's really pretty. This on the left is a spot where Alfred Hitchcock, the great director, he visited, and he said, allegedly, that it has the most beautiful sunset in the world. So some of our architects in the 90s created this spot. It's got solar panels, so it's powered by the sun. So at night, it does all these different patterns, and many people come there to propose. Mm-hmm. So that's an idea. When you one day, recently we had two young Americans come and
they were in the newspapers.
They ended up in the so you end up in the newspaper. Yeah,
which was wonderful.
This is the little peninsula full of ancient. And what's lovely is there are churches there from way before, like the 5th century. So it's not like it's like you're walking through the past, and you can really, like when Paul sent Titus to Dalmatia, you can kind of feel that time, that era. So again, you are welcome, and I will show you around.
Free tours, yeah.
For everyone.
So in the end, kind of just to run a couple of things that we do in Zadar. So this is first, like, we are actually in Zadar. I'm a assistant pastor. So we have a senior pastor, which is a wonderful man. Is Ivan, and his family are there. And then these are kind of the things that we do as outreach. There's ladies ministries, there's concerts, there's painting shops, workshops. So we just try to be in the community. We try to do things, as I'm sure that you also do, so people can see you. Because when you're, and this is something that maybe you don't experience here because there's many Baptist churches, but when you are one Baptist church in town, people look at you like Baptist. Sometimes they say Buddhist, or what are you? You want them to come and see you, to meet you, to see that you are, flesh and blood like them, that you're not weird. that you actually love them, that you love your country, that you love your people. So that's one thing to do, And another thing we do, we have mission stations. So we want the word to spread and churches to open, not just in Africa, like I said, but also in Croatia. So we have 2 mission stations. One is in Gospić, that's a little bit inland, an hour from Zadar. One is in Beograd, that's a lovely place on the coast, maybe 40 minutes. So these are some of our colleagues that work with us. On the right, that's a Bible study in Beograd. And then on the left down, it's a Bible study in Gospić. But these are actually the Baptist Union people coming. That's why we have so many. You recognize some of the guys. And then one thing that we want to do is, you guys are blessed. You can go to a Christian store, bookstore, and buy books by wonderful authors, in English, and read them in your own language. Where our people don't have that luxury, because we don't have many theologians. And so the most prominent way that we have Christian books in Croatia is to translate them. So we have some authors that maybe you recognize here, like John Piper, and then Gavin Ortlund, Tim Keller, and then Rebecca McLaughlin, and other people. So we just try to see what would be useful for our people, what could translate in our country and culture, so that Christian people and also others would read and be edified in their faith, so that they can grow. Because I believe books are really a wonderful way to grow in the Lord. You listen to the sermon, you read the Bible, but then sometimes you want to go deeper. Sometimes you want to see, some topics that are really important for your Christian life. So this is all about us and our ministry. But if you have any kind of questions about Croatia or what we do, or anything we would like to ask, you're free to ask. And thank you for your time.
How are y'all supported?
Yes, so we are supported partially through, we are part of Pioneers, which is a mission organization here in the States. It's actually in Orlando. So we are partially missionaries, and then Ivana works half-time, part-time, as a translator. And then I also sometimes work like honorarni posao. Honorarni posao. Yeah, also sometimes half-time as a translator. So it's work and ministry. Yes. Yes. It's a great question. So it would take you, like, if you could just go straight with an airplane, around maybe 9 to 10 hours to get there. It took us longer because you don't go like with one airplane. You have to go to, let's say, Germany, and then take another one, and then come to Croatia.
In Europe, everything is smaller.
Yeah.
Here, everything seems huge. From the first moment we got off, we saw a huge car.
Yeah.
It was like really, really big. But in Europe, and maybe in Croatia especially, even the streets are too small for the big cars. So they don't do well.
And you probably know this from school, but like, it's 2 a.m. in Croatia now. So everybody's sleeping. Yeah. Yeah, other side of the world. Yeah, 6 hours, yeah.
Do your churches have programs for the children, like Awana program?
Yes. Some churches actually have a WANA program. Our church doesn't for now. Maybe we will in the future. But yeah, we try to have youth meetings. We try to have Sunday school for kids and just have fun. And sometimes actually we have people come from the States to help us to organize wider programs for children. And children love it. Sports camps, yeah. So our children in Croatia love to meet Americans because, we watch TV, and for us, America, for most of us, America is what you see on TV, kind of. Yes.
You two propose
No, we didn't propose there, but we were actually at the castle up north, which was a wonderful location. Yeah, uh, Thrakushchan. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
How old were you when you got a Christian?
So I was 15.
I was 22. All good questions.
Yeah.
So what is your middle son, Joseph?
Joseph. That's Joseph. Yeah.
Right, right. So what is he doing now?
So both of our older sons are now working until the fall, and then they will go get into college. So hopefully, so the older one wants to go to Bible college, like it's like Bible and music, and then the middle son, he wants to do programming. Yeah.
How about Luca? What is he interested in?
Luca.
He draws.
It's wonderful to hear how the Lord touched your lives. It's just always so encouraging, the power of God, and
Thank you. Yeah.
how He cares so individually, sends people like the lady in England. It's amazing.
Yes.
Have your parents come before?
My mother, perhaps, we're not sure. Some people that knew her, because I was young when she passed away. I was like 18, and so some people from the church said that she has. And my father passed away 4 years ago. To my knowledge, no. So they both heard the gospel, and then
Yeah, my mom and dad are alive and healthy. It's just, and I'm very free when I talk to my mom and dad. It's allowed. They are truly liberal in a sense, they will, but it doesn't go deeper. It's like my father sometimes just does this with his hands, like it doesn't work for him. So it's really, I mean, they're getting older. So we are praying and praying. God can do that, but it's a tough. Like in my life, God had to bring me so low, for all these veils to fall, because there were, I think, because of communism. We are taught. It's not that they teach you in school, but you get the feeling that if God is something for old people, and God is like for the past, and we're done with the past. We're moving forward, and you feel like if you want to be smart, you don't want that. And to this day, it's like that. It's always this view of. But then again, because of Roman Catholicism, and I do understand some people are true believers as Roman Catholics, but mostly in our country, it's just nominal. So if you grow up thinking that's Christianity, that's Jesus, you don't like it. Like when that lady witnessed to me, and I came to church on Sunday, next Sunday, I went to the Roman Catholic Church because I thought, what am I doing? Like, I have my own church to go to. And in this place, there was no room for a repentant sinner. There was room for us and them, but not for someone who's seeking, who's come and, I've just remembered something, so I should stop talking about this. But yeah, that's something that we want to show people, that believing God is something that's visible, that shows that you change, you do the work. Yeah, there's fruit, and we pray that people will see that, and not just the strangeness, like you're not Roman Catholics, but just see Jesus through us.
Very much of what you say can be applied right here. Same attitude, same hardness sometimes when people have been in church all their lives and they just go to church. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
How long will it take to walk from Croatia down to here?
To walk. To walk. Well, in order to walk from Croatia to here, yeah, you would actually have to go all the way to the other side of Russia, and then swim over to Alaska, and then go down. But it's possible. I'm sure it's possible. So I don't know.
It should be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
We start our TNT class out on Wednesdays, and each individual has a chance to give a praise and a prayer. So my question is, can you give us a praise, and that we can, rejoice with you, and a prayer request, so we can pray for you.
Yeah. Doing praise. You do praise, I'll do prayer.
Well, we have been so encouraged these last 10 days, honestly, among Christians, and just to be in bigger churches, surrounded by people who have been so kind to us. So our hearts are soaring, and we are going back with renewed enthusiasm, and it's been wonderful. So that would be our praise.
Mm. Yeah, for prayer requests. So it is really a joy for us to be a part of church now, because we were a church plant for 11 years, and but if you can pray, so for the 2 church plants that we have, and you don't really need to remember the names because it's probably will. But just for people who are hosting, who are living there and hosting the meetings, for their encouragement, and that God will really bless, and that they will see the fruit of their efforts. Because it can be really hard when you invite people, come to the meeting, and you try to serve them and everything, and then people just reject you. So if you could just pray for them. Thank you so much. This will be, yes.
How many churches have you been to be a missionary? Like, how many have you already been to?
You mean here in the States this time? Oh, at home. How many churches I served? Maybe. I would say this is like the 5th church. Yeah. Yeah, 5 churches.
How many churches are there in Croatia?
You mean Baptist churches? I think there are 45 Baptist churches. Around 45, maybe 44 or 46, but yeah.
And in a matter of like 15 minutes in one town, we've counted 8.
Yes.
I wonder if you get more specific about how it works with the church plant, how it turns into a church, and how that process goes.
So kind of like our previous experience was like you send 2 couples to a town kind of far, far away, and then they work for a billion years, and then But now actually this is something that when we were with Pastor Eric in Zagreb, we learned this, that in order to plant a church needs to plant a church, and this is something that really came to my heart, because when I came to Zagreb, I was like, I'm done with church planting. This doesn't work. I just can't do this. So when I saw what they did with the church in Dugo Selo, where Pastor Kostya is, and Vrbovec, I was encouraged. So what we do, basically, our plan is, we have Bible study groups in Beograd and in Gospic, and our plan is to kind of, as a church, encourage these people, who are hosting it, come there and then do outreach ministries, and hopefully people come to the Lord. Some people maybe from Zadar move to that place, so that we can start with gatherings, and then through a couple of years, maybe 10 years, it becomes a self-sustaining church on its own, and then we kind of bless them, and they become kind of a church, right? And then they can do the same maybe to their neighboring villages and towns. So that's kind of a rough idea. But it all depends, right, on what the Lord does, on the people we have, and it's never, you cannot program it, right? And say this will happen in 2 years, this will happen in 5 years. And that's why we need prayer. Yes. Foods and colors. That's a great question. So my favorite, I'll start with color. It's blue. And my favorite, my favorite food. So, I don't know. Would it be like maybe a hamburger or pizza? It depends on the day. But those two. We just had a wonderful hamburger, and I really enjoyed it. Yes, sir. How many? What? Miles. Ooh, I might be wrong, but I would say maybe 6,000. Around 6,000 miles. Yeah.
We don't even have miles.
Yeah, we have kilometers. So 6,000 miles is 10,000 kilometers. So I'm sure you want to come to Croatia because you ask very specific questions. And you are welcome to come. We would love to have you there. All of you. All of you.
Favorite color.
Yes.
I kind of love all colors. Maybe yellow. It's bright. And and maybe stuffed peppers. That's what I like.
Yes.
My mom makes good stuffed peppers with mashed potatoes, so I like that.
What are some of the occupations?
I'm sorry?
What are some of the occupations, jobs, work?
In Croatia. Oh. So Croatia is big on tourism. So that's big. And then, just like the normal doctors, teachers. I can't remember anything like that will be specific for the area. Construction, but you have construction. Shipbuilding, yeah, that's. Yeah, so you have Tesla and we have Rimac,
It's
So Rimac, what Rimac does, this is a company, and actually, Iman, he does like super cars on super electric cars. And a couple of years ago, his car was like the fastest electric car in the world. So
I wanted to say, like in the past, like all until maybe the middle of the 20th century, all of the coast were fishermen.
Yeah.
That was what they did. And a lot of them, during different famines, because of the First World War and the Second World War, came to America. So there are a lot of Croatians in St. Louis, around St. Louis, and in Pittsburgh. I guess they found factories and, just places. And there are some Dalmatians who are in California. Because Dalmatia, that coastal area, is kind of like, mellow climate where you grow vines, grapes. Yeah, you make wine. And so it's kind of, I've never been to California. But that's interesting. Like when somebody wants to say that something is really good, even my grandfather who passed away, he said, it looks like California. So that's like the universal way to say it's really good, somehow. Yeah.
What are the animals in Croatia?
Some animals that would be different from here would be, I don't know, no, there are wolves here, of course. We have a specific type of mountain lion. That may be ris.
Mm-hmm.
And
Posco, yeah, snake.
there's some poisonous snakes.
Tell them about that snake. They'll enjoy that, particularly the young girls will.
Which snake?
Posco?
The dad say that Paul was shipwrecked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And Malta and Millet do come from the same root. So maybe, who knows? Paul was there.
Yeah. But I just wanted, since we mentioned Rimac and Tesla, so Tesla was named after Nikola Tesla. He was a great inventor. He actually moved to America. But he was actually born in a village of Smiljan, which when I mentioned Gospić, where we have a church plant, Smiljan is just a couple of miles down the road. So, yeah, the great inventor was born there. And now you drive cars in his name, I'm sorry?
What color is your Rima?
Rimats. I can't afford one. Yeah. But our car is white. But yeah, it would be blue. Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
The most famous car, I think, is a Golf.
Yeah.
They're like Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
That's what all the men would say, that's the proper car.
Yes. Okay, so I don't know who.
Let's start
Yes.
down there and move back.
Okay.
Yes, they do. They really like it. We're very grateful for that. Our oldest boy, he plays the guitar and sings, kind of like Ed Sheeran. That's what he kind of thinks. Well, he's a good singer. And our middle son, he also, and they all both go to church where Eric and Julie used to go to church. They've stayed there because they work in another town. And yeah, so they do. They really like the church.
Okay. Who's next?
Is your body different or the same as ours?
Well, then it's different. And the name is Kuna.
No, it's not anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we changed it. Now it's euro. We used to have kuna, and then 2 years ago we changed it for euro, which is kind of what you pay. Yeah.
But it used to be kuna is a type of I've looked through Google Translate. It's marten, a type of a little animal, and it was we believe it was because people were like trappers here, so that was the currency. One marten was that's how I think fur, marten fur.
What are like some foods in Croatia that are like?
Yeah. So we like to make like sausages, like dry sausages, and then we have something Italian stole for us. It's called prosciutto, So we actually, we don't know where it actually originated, which is basically a smoked ham. Then we like cheeses, and then like Ivana said, we have like stuffed peppers, which is a big pepper, and we put meat and rice in it and cook it. And then we also have this meal. It's called sarma, which was invented by monks because there was a famine in the land. So it's basically you put meat into cabbage. So everybody else thinks that you're eating cabbage, but you actually eat meat because you can afford it. So that's a story. I don't know, is it true? Yeah, it's probably not true. Yeah. Yeah, we have McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, fast foods. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yes. Yes, we have hospitals. Every town, every city has a big hospital, and then every town has maybe a smaller. Yes.
What are some of the native reptiles?
Ooh. So that's snake. We have this poisonous snake. So basically, these snakes, they're very, very dangerous because when the big mama snakes has a baby, it does it on a big tree. But they're so poisonous that she wants them out from the nest right away, because if they bite her, then she dies. So she throws them away on the ground, and then if you're walking below and it falls on you, it can actually bite you. But it's not like it happens all over the place. It's only in some really, if you go into wilderness, so you don't have to be afraid of snakes. So we have lizards. So we have just the normal green lizards, and then we have something what's called that go on the wall. Yeah, gecko. Yeah, but like yellow, and he gets into apartments and.
Yeah, they crawl on your walls.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Or they crawl in your pants, and then you have to dance. You can. Okay, when you come to Croatia, I'll let you catch lizards. Yes. Yeah.
rode a bike all the way to Spain. How long was that?
To get from Croatia to Spain? Sorry, I didn't understand.
So we traveled across. If y'all were still at Croatia and rode a bike all the way to Spain, how long would that take?
Take a bike from Croatia to Spain.
Yeah.
We drove from Croatia to Spain, and it took 3 days to drive.
3 days. So it's probably 3 weeks. Yeah. Yes.
So both of you came from sort of agnostic, non-religious background.
Yeah.
When you reach out to people, do you find that people are more receptive from that kind of background, or from people who have some nominal involvement with it? Or do you see a pattern that way at all?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I guess what I'm asking is, does the Catholic Church sort of insulate them from the message more than agnosticism or atheism?
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say yes. Yeah. I think the greatest, and this is where you did your PhD there, so you're actually the authority on that. But I would say that the greatest, the people who are most receptive are actually people from mixed marriages. Like if you have a marriage of somebody who's Orthodox and Roman Catholic, then those people are kind of more open and more searching, and just they cannot fit into any mold. So they would be more receptive, and especially during the Homeland War in the 90s. And now I would say that maybe after that, the secular people would be a little bit more, not because those who are Roman Catholic are not interested in the gospel, but more because maybe they'll feel more like, well, you have to be a Roman Catholic to be a Croat, and then you're kind of weird, and the church tells you about this, even though since the Second Vatican Council, they say that we are a church. I mean, this is really something. Maybe you never think about whether a Baptist church is a church. But when you live in Europe, when you live in Croatia, you come up and people tell you you're not a church. You're just a sect, or or they say ecclesial fellowship or whatever, So.
But it's interesting how God works in a mysterious way. Communism, in a way, there's something good about it. In a sense, it didn't look at differences, like ethnical differences. Like there's a big rift between Serbians and Croatians. Like it's nothing perhaps you do know about it, but it's a huge thing there. We had a war because of that. But through communism preached brotherhood and unity. That was the motto. And some people, like I did when I was a kid, believed it. I was really convinced that it doesn't matter if you're a Serbian. It doesn't matter if you're Croatian. So it did help some people not to look at the religion and ethnicity. So it's easier to talk to those people. But it's kind of like my dad. There are other walls that need to come down. So it's easy to talk to them, but they just think it's opium for the masses, and you are just fooled. But it's okay. You're a good guy, you're a good woman. It works for you. Yes, basically.
So, do you do anything with apologetics based on that, as far as you are talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say that producing books is a part of apologetics, and I mean, it's kind of like every time you share the gospel in Croatia, you're entering into apologetics, because you have to defend why are you sharing Christianity that's different from their Christianity. So I think we don't even think about like am I doing evangelism or apologetics?
Presuppositional
Yeah.
ideas that maybe pre-Christian, but
Uh-huh.
open them up to the fact that God actually does exist.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah, we basically Croatia is a kind of like a mix between a Roman Catholic country and a secular country. So it's kind of both of those, right? So we have to be aware of where people, their presuppositions, so that we can kind of talk the same language, let's speak, and not, because you approach a person who is religious in one way, a secular person in another way. And then also, we have, for example, just when we come back, there'll be lectures on C.S. Lewis and the problem of evil. So we try to incorporate those things when we share the gospel, invite people. Okay, come and listen to this, so you can know, why we believe in God and why we're not just, came about by a blind evolutionary process. So, yeah.
Okay. You've asked a lot of questions and they've been really good. Let's take the last one from you. Oh, is there a grown-up question? Where's that?
Okay.
Let's do this one and then Neil, and then I'd like to have some time to pray for you before we leave.
Okay.
So, what kind of wars were there?
Wars. So,
One German general said that our area where we live is a powder keg. Do you know what that is? So it only takes a spark for everything to blow up, and it did. Like for example, there were many wars before, but the First World War began in nearby, let's say Croatia, in Sarajevo. So the first shots were fired there. In 1990s, when some big sociologist or economist, I don't know, said that it was the end of history, like the Berlin Wall came down, now everything's going to be wonderful. That's when another war in Croatia started. So we haven't known a time.
Every 50 years.
Exactly, that's what people say. Around every 50 years, there's going to be some mess in the Balkans. Although we say we're not a part of the Balkans.
You keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, we keep the border.
Just a little bit south from Zadar.
Your thought said the Balkans is whatever country is south of the one you're in right now.
Yeah.
It's true.
You want to talk more about war? Neil?
Yeah.
So I teach high school history too. With world history, we focus on that area a lot because so much sparks from there spreads out, right? And so, along with that, even with Greece and Rome nearby, that time, First World War, Second World War, then spread of communism, and now with what's going on currently with pushing into Ukraine and things like that, have you come across more people that are more receptive to a hope, or more defensive because they don't know what the truth is?
That's a good question, yeah. I mean, every time, I'll just shortly answer, every time any crisis comes, whether it's COVID, whether it's, we had earthquake, whether it's wars, it's like people are a little bit more receptive for maybe 6 months, but then, when things come down, then they're okay, normal. Like, unfortunately, people are such that, the war is now in Ukraine for 2 years, and we almost forget about it because we're no longer bombarded by it, so. Yeah. Okay.
Well, if you would like to come up and pray for them, you're welcome to stay seated. To come and pray for them. Let's